Morning, guys. Raptor Freak Alexios here. The morning after our second preseason game against the Philadelphia 76ers in Philadelphia, and we lost. All right, a couple of things. Much like the team and the coach handle things with the season, you don't get too up, you don't get too down. This is the way Raptor fans need to be too. Because one of the things that really irks me about our fan base is there's a certain percentage of our fan base that become chicken littles. Like they start saying, "Oh, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. We're not going to be that good. We're not going to be that good," because they see something like last night. That's really annoying because the sample size is so small, and you need to have context for why the game was like it was last night and what mattered about the game last night. It's a preseason game, first of all. And preseason in itself is for trying out and testing new players to see if they're going to make your team. And one of the things that Nick Nurse said in the post game interview was that he's not playing any of his set defenses right now, that he's not trying to do a lot of things that he normally will do in the regular season, that it's just testing guys out, seeing what they can do on the floor, having some or offensive framework, but not really a whole lot, and just letting them play and seeing what happens. And on Monday, it was great because the game was more of a full court transitional kind of game. And we excelled in that and killed them on it. What happened last night was, first of all, Doc Rivers was already on the hot seat because of the way we beat them on Monday. Like already this week, murmurs of him not possibly being the coach for Philadelphia. Like he's in trouble. With Ben Simmons being out and different issues, the confidence of Doc Rivers as the coach for the Sixers isn't that high in some ways. So it was really important to him and the team to get that win last night. That was almost kind of like a must win for Philadelphia. So, and also having their guys come back. They had Embiid back, which is huge by itself, but they had Harris back also. They also had this Bassey guy that they didn't have on Monday night. They had a couple more weapons than they did on Monday night, and it definitely showed. And, our guys came out flat. And the things that I was worried about with the Kyle Lowry missing thing, they did manifest last night in some ways. Like, I think that Toronto might have won that game if Kyle Lowry was on our team last night. Because, first of all, one of the things I noticed right at the beginning of the game is they have a powwow at the beginning of the game. I shouldn't say that word. They have a little meeting at the beginning of the game with the referees, the team captains and the referees. And out there was Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris standing there with the refs, and there was Malachi Flynn standing as our representative. Now, normally that would be Kyle Lowry or something like that, or I don't know why it wasn't Fred VanVleet. But basically in exchange with the referees were palling around with Joel Embiid, like patting each other on the back, laughing and goofing around. And it just looked like Malachi was just a guy kind of standing there and just kind of like, okay. This is the thing. It's engagement. It's respect. It's a relationship over time. As acrimonious as the relationship between the refs and Kyle Lowry would be at times, he had a relationship with them. He has a relationship with other players. He has a reputation that precedes him and brings him a certain level of respect and things like that. And that's something that we're going to feel like we lost with Kyle being gone, is that level of respect in those ways. Because even fans and fan bases, like the Philadelphia fans, respect us more with Kyle Lowry on the team because they know what a threat and a danger he is. So this is going to be tough because we need this mentality, this road warrior mentality to win on the road. And we also need that leadership to tell the guys to say, like, look, we got to win. We got to win. Now, we didn't have to win last night. And honestly, I'm glad we lost in some ways. Because, Philadelphia had to hold serve because they needed to save face for themselves. It would have been a disaster if we'd beat the crap out of them two games in a row for their franchise. They would be in big trouble already with all the Ben Simmons stuff. Pile that on top that the Raptors are smacking them around left and right. So, but the loss is good for the team because it gives a lot of tape and a lot of opportunity for the coaches to go with the players and improve and show them different places where they could get a little bit better. And I'm not that worried about this game. Like I'm saying, these Chicken Little Raptor fans are going to write all these articles today on different sites or do different coverages or post their YouTube thing and talk about how, oh, the sky is falling. The Raptors aren't going to be that good because of this or this or this. I hate that. I hate doubter fans. I hate fans that as soon as they see the first sign of bad things, they go neurotic and they start nitpicking and getting really self-critical of the team. I don't think these are fans. These are just people that like to criticize things. Toronto is a big city full of very successful people that make a lot of money, because to make it here, you got to be like that. And maybe it's just a reflection of how they handle their own lives, that like, oh, they're self-critical of themselves, so they're super critical of their team too. So I'm not like that. You're going to find me as a fan. I'm a overly like accepting and spin positive kind of fan. I'm going to spin anything right. I liken it to, if you guys have seen the show The Goldbergs, that family, it's like in the 80s and it's like the Wonder Years kind of show. The mother on that show loves her children so much that she lies and does all kinds of crazy stuff just in blind love to her children. And she sees them as the most best potential, even if they're idiots. Even if her kids are idiots and they screw up all the time, the mother sees them as just the greatest ever. That's me. I'm the mother on the Goldbergs, and the children are the Raptors. I'm going to spin it any which way to make them look good and to build them up. I don't care. There's so many people out there that are going to spin this negatively, spin things to the toilet down. I'm going to spin it right back up, because that's how I feel. That's how I feel about a fan. You should have that kind of devotion. You should love your team in a way that you see through the negativity and the bad stuff, and you see the positive stuff coming up down the road. Because just like that Rocky statue they took a picture around yesterday, the whole organization, Rocky, what happened in those movies? Rocky lost at the end of one of those movies. He had to lose one of those end of those movies to get to the other movies, to win and have those triumphs. So this is the thing. It's a process. And when you reload the gun and you have new weapons and new players, they gotta have the ability to meld and get together and fix it and be together, because that's what's happening. We're figuring it out still right now. Like Nick Nurse said, he didn't put the real defense in. He didn't show what he's going to do to Embiid for real in that game last night. No, he's just get out there and play, guys. Because seriously, this is, what Paul just said is true. I'm really worried about Gillespie. I don't think he deserves to be on the team right now at this point. He hasn't shown us anything to be on the team, because the things we need from him, and Nick said it after the game, is we need him to be a defensive presence. And we need him to rebound. I don't care if he misses all of his shots. He can miss layups that he has no business missing. But if he can put a body on Embiid and hold him and stop him, then that's what we want him for. But if he can't do that, then we can't have him on the team. We can get another player that will fill that spot. Reggie Perry looked okay last night. And, if he gets more minutes in the next couple preseason games and he shows more than Gillespie, then Gillespie's in trouble. It's just the nature of the things. And he knows that. But he's getting opportunities, and it's his to lose, which is sad and sucks. And on the other hand, you got Yuta, who may not play another game in the preseason. And he's probably sewn up a spot right away just because of his performance on Monday and in the open practice, because he is shown those leaps and bounds and stuff like that. But I'm getting a little off track. This was more on like individual players. The reason why we lost last night, I looked at all the stats. The team stats were very even. It's not like we got majorly out-rebounded. We got 47 rebounds. That's really good. It's not that we had way more turnovers than them. No, the turnovers were pretty equal. It wasn't that we got more fouled more or anything like that. It wasn't, assists or anything like that. The thing that killed us last night was three-point shooting. And that Doc Rivers drew up a bunch of schemes for screens and different ways to free up his three-point shooters and find them open. And they killed us on three-point shooting. And we were a step too late. getting to those guys. And that's all just tightening things up. They shot almost 50% from the three-point line, and we shot 30%. And that's the difference of the game right there. We shoot better and we get to them better. It's a whole different game. And I understand in the fourth quarter, it's a little similar to what happened on Monday, where they got their stats a little more buffed up at the end of the game in the fourth quarter because we had our lesser guys out. And the same thing happened in the game last night. They got ahead by 20 and they thought they had already won the game. So they took all their guys out and we kept playing and we started coming back. And then they had to get worried again. But our stats got cleaned up a lot at that point. Yeah, we had 33 rebounds and they had 30. No, we had 40 something, didn't we? I thought I saw 40 on there. Anyway, I looked at the stats just for a second last night. Thanks for calling me out, Paul. For just a second. And like I said, I'm doing it off the top of my head. I know they were pretty equal, the rebounding. Yeah. Oh, that's in game one? No, we had 50 rebounds in the first game. Anyway, besides all that, this was a good game in some ways because we needed to get a taste of losing for Scotty Barnes. I hope that he feels just as angry and upset about losing last night as not getting to play for the championship in the summer league this summer. That this is the feeling you need to have, that it's a balance. You got to have the highs and the lows to really not want the lows. And they may not be that upset about the game, but I hope that it bothers Scotty. Because when it gets to the point where that kind of stuff doesn't bother you anymore, that's when you become a loser in this league. So you need to let every single loss, no matter what happens, you need to let it just, set in and take it and feel it so that you don't want it to happen again. Like I said, last night was an important game for Doc Rivers. He was going to be in the hot seat if he wasn't going to win this one because already it's looking really bad. And, and Nick Nurse isn't trying his real stuff right now. This is just preliminary, feeling things out, seeing guys on the court playing, seeing who's going to make the team. It looks like we got guys, rookies that all want to be on the rotation because now it looks like Banton, Champagnie, and Barnes will possibly be rotational players for this year. That's insane because I didn't project Champagnie or Banton to be that well. Yeah, see, Paul said that the Sixers made they made almost 50% of their threes last night, and that's just not good enough. We need to irritate them better around there. And also the announcers at one point said that the Raptors defense, the way it was working, they were forcing them to take more 2-point shots, and we weren't trying to let them shoot threes. Like we were forcing them off the 3-point line. But it was really annoying having the Philadelphia stream last night because the Philadelphia announcers are such homers. Oh my gosh, they're such homers. This is why I have no problem with Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong being homers. Because if you listen to the other team's announcers, they're annoying the way they talk about them, like the other team and how they put us down and stuff like that. They call Joel Embiid JoJo. First of all, how cheesy is that? They call him JoJo. JoJo's a singer, y'all. Joel Embiid ain't JoJo. They call JoJo going to the basket. It's so stupid, y'all. If y'all haven't listened to them before, maybe, listen to them later this season, but maybe not. Yeah, refs weren't calling anything. This is what I'm saying. At the beginning of the game, when they have that meeting at the beginning of the game with the refs and the team captains, Joel Embiid was engaged with the refs like they were old buddies. Like they had an inside track before the game that they knew they were going to win. And meanwhile, Malachi's standing there like nothing. They won't even talking to him or acknowledging him, standing there. Sorry, there's somebody doing work across the street or something. It's the city, Toronto life. What else is people saying here? Sixers were playing dirty and desperate. Yep. Took them out for safety. Oh, OG. Thanks for bringing up OG. I keep forgetting to talk about OG because kind of he's our silent killer. He's a very James Worthy type player, very unassuming and just quiet. He's just always had that MO. The thing I love about OG right now is that he's consistently precise. I like those two words together, consistently precise. You watch the way he's moving. Every little micro muscle in his body is working in tune to make the shot perfect. And like his 3-point shot looks so nasty and automatic right now. And the fact that he's getting 20 points every game on the sly, like it looks like it's not that hard. And he's shooting well over 50%. This all bodes really well for OG being a consistent high scorer for us this year. That he could finally graduate into that kind of level of consistency where he's not like one night 10 points, next night 25 points. We should expect to get consistency from him this year in a great way, especially before Pascal comes back. Hopefully he can keep it, and then Pascal comes back, and then we have that double attack. It's going to be great. Let me see what else you guys are saying. I'm loving this interaction today. Yeah, broadcasters purposely terrible, not calling out unfairness. You know, these guys are so bad on the Philadelphia side. They spin it like they were saying, they were trying to call Fred VanVleet traveled on that play. Every little thing that is kind of 50-50, they will push it on their side. And like, it's almost like, all right, y'all, listen to me real quick. Our media in our world is changing. Because of Trump and all this stupid disinformation out there now, there's so many media outlets that are just liars, that just don't even put out real stuff. And that's happening in broadcasting for sports too, guys. They have a thing that they want to put out as a product, a narrative. And their narrative in the States, because the U.S. media, that has nothing to do with Toronto. They want us to be the bad guys. They want to paint us as like not as good. They want to do all that because they're fitting their audience down there. And it's spin, just like Fox News would spin politics. The NBA media, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, all Fox Sports News, they all spin the NBA in the way that they want it to be viewed. And it's not always reality. 2019 proved that. They could have spent it all different ways they wanted to, but the Raptors won the championship that year. So this is the thing we got to realize when you're taking in your NBA media and the stories, think about where you're getting the information from. Is it from the NBA itself? Is it from ESPN? Who's it from? And think critically about it, just like you would with normal news, because there's a problem in Raptors fan nation that I see, that we watch ESPN, we see Stephen A. Smith, we see all these different personalities, and we hear what they're saying, and it becomes a reflection of how we feel about our team. Now, I personally, as a person, I stopped watching CNN, Fox News, all those channels a long, long time ago, and that spin stuff doesn't happen to me. And I decided also to ignore the American sports media for the same reason. Because I feel like what happens is they influence how we feel about our team. Even if you don't realize it, it influences us and it makes us down on our team just because we hear experts talk about the Raptors in that way. So I challenge every single Raptors fan to think about why you think about a certain way about the team. And if you're being influenced by those kind of like media forces, because we got to think critically, think reality, watch for yourself with your own eyes and see what's happening on the court like I do. Don't listen to them because there's too many Raptor fans that parrot what ESPN and them are saying about us when it's not even true or fair. Think about that. Seriously, think about the role of bias in sports media in relation to what happens in political media. It's a very similar thing. They want people to think a certain way about the Raptors, especially in the States. And when people collectively down there think it, and then we get echoes of it up here, and we start thinking about it with ourselves, that's messed up. It's a weird form of gaslighting, guys. Anyway, all right, let me run down some more of this stuff. We'll do it. If you guys are on here with me, we can do a question and answer here. I'm all about it. Let's see. OG looked pissed to be on the bench. Yeah. Okay. This is the thing that I found out this year. The whole reason why Pascal and Nick Nurse had a problem last year, the whole blow up, you want to know what it was? It's because Nick took Pascal out of the games late in the season last year, not because we were trying to tank, but because it was futile at that point. We weren't trying to get in the playoffs and get one of those play-in spots. So he took Pascal out of a few games where we were competitive and we could have won. And the competitor in Pascal was pissed at Nick for taking him out of the game. That was the whole reason why they was upset with each other. And Nick admitted that he maybe, should have understood the competitor and Pascal wanted to be out there. So there you go. So I can see that. Yeah, OG might have been a little pissed because he probably thought last night he could get out on the court and help us win still. But it didn't matter if we won or not last night. We needed to give that to them in a way because honestly, Doc Rivers could lose his job like soon because he's not an efficient coach or effective coach for his team. All right, Gary Trent looked like he had blinders on a bit. Gary hasn't been involved in a lot of stuff, and maybe he's still getting thrown in the mix and not totally like up to like regular playing like capacity yet. OG does look great. We need the loss to learn from. Yeah. Fred wastes too many shots. I didn't really, I thought Fred played okay. The thing I really love about this road trip to Philly was when they flew down, they put the guys together on the plane in pairs, and Goran was with Precious, and they put Scotty with Fred VanVleet, and they sat on the plane together on the way down. And I can just imagine the veteran wisdom that Fred was giving to Scotty on the way to Philadelphia on Wednesday night. And I can tell that they're purposely trying to bond Freddie and Scotty together because, honestly, these two are two of the most important leaders on the team. So we need them on the same page and to have really good synergy. And they've shown it so far. In the first game on Monday night, they were passing it to each other and making shots of each other and getting assists. It's really good. This game definitely made me want Moses Brown from the Mavs. All right, this whole Moses Brown thing, yes, it'd be great if we could have a taller guy on our team and stuff like that. And yes, it would fit so well if we could just trade Dragic for Moses Brown. But Mark Cuban's an asshole. Like, he understands this whole situation, and he understands leverage and he's a business guy. So he understands that he kind of has the cards in this thing. And, also we kind of laid our hand down by, all the fans and different people saying, we want Moses Brown. Well, now he sees value in Moses Brown, and he's holding on to him to see what he can get out of him, which is too bad because he would be a good fit on our team. But much like with most speculation of players coming here or trades and stuff like that, I don't like to get into it too much until somebody's actually on the ground with us. I'd welcome Moses Brown if he came to our team and he was on our team now. But I find it futile to really just get too much into these kind of things until it's real and concrete. Okay, MLB doesn't do that to the Blue Jays. Why do they do it to the Raptors? I think that because the Blue Jays won their championships like a long time ago, and they're always battling with the Yankees and the Red Sox, and they're already kind of in an unfair position in the MLB with the American League East, that they feel bad for them. And that on the sly, like what happened at the end of the baseball season just last week, they are still kind of trying to orchestrate the Blue Jays out of the playoffs. Like, that was messed up. And it's too bad that it got down to the point where they had to rely on those other teams to lose to get in. But, there's a whole masterwork to that too. It was really good years ago when they added the extra wild card and allowed the Jays to even have a chance to even think that they were sniffing the postseason, because there were many years where the stranglehold at the top there with the Yankees and the Red Sox was just anyway. I'm getting too much into baseball. That's not my sport. I know a little bit. Our broadcasters are bad too, unfortunately. I love our broadcasters. I used to hate Matt Devlin. I was a huge Chuck Swirsky fan. I love Chuck Swirsky. I was so upset when Chicago took him and he went to Chicago. I know it was because of his family or stuff like that. He didn't really want to leave because he's a Canadian. Chuck Swirsky became Canadian. He wanted to stay here with the Raptors, but the Bulls lured him away. But Devlin's really grown on me. He is a tried and true Raptor now. And I love the guy. If you know anything about Matt Devlin, he has children. He has a son who has special needs, who's amazingly inspirational. And, Matt Devlin's just a good dude, and he's a great broadcaster. Jack's a little getting up there and a little crazy, sometimes with his singing, but I love those guys. You got to love those guys. I understand why you think they're a little bad. Keeps never expect American media to be fair. It keeps our team humble. It's true. Part of our mentality is built on being spited by the media and having a chip on our shoulders and from that kind of stuff. And so we should, feel like, that's a good thing. I think that this stuff that happens with the media is just going to happen. We can't beat it. We can't fight it. So we might as well use the advantages of it, whether it's being the rest of the league sleeping on us and maybe thinking that we're not that good and then we sneak up on them, or it's just that we use it as locker room fodder. We put it on the wall and we say, look at what Skip Bayless said about us on Tuesday morning. And, it's motivation like Michael Jordan used to use. But honestly, I don't think that the guys listen to half of anybody. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to any of the Raptors Republic people. They don't listen to, they don't read any of this stuff hardly at all, probably. Okay, let's see. Fred shot 3 for 9 from 3-point. Fred's shot is good. He's getting hard shots. He's being very efficient. It's just that his shot's not exactly right. Like, it was the same thing on Monday. He shot 3 for 10 or something from the field. That's going to come. The thing for me with Fred that's important for me to see is the baseline thing is his leadership. He needs to have that leadership and the team on the same page and clicking, because that's really partly his responsibility. And his shot's going to fall sometimes and it won't. We're going to have games where he's totally efficient and he gets a 54-point game. And then we're going to have games where he may not do a whole lot for us, but he may have 10 assists and he may have 5 rebounds for a guy who's 6 feet tall. So I would temper your expectations on how much Fred's going to score this year, because scoring may not be as important for him as leadership and facilitating the other big guys around him. He may not get 20 points a game, but the other stuff may be more important for him. Scotty's not going to take his starting role. No, they'll start together. If anything, Fred's going to start no matter what. Those guys are just, they're made men. We'll just put it that way on the team. Pascal, OG, and Fred are made men. They will be in the starting lineup when they're healthy and available. They will be. That's just how it is. You got to have that experience just from the championship and stuff like that. And it's just too much of a drop-off in experience. Scotty's great, and I hope he does end up starting, but I don't think he will. I think when Pascal comes back, he will be off the bench, and it's just going to have to be that way. Felt bad for Malachi too. Malachi shot okay. He got a couple threes, and in the press conference after the game, Nick Nurse was very glowing about Malachi and what he's doing right now. So he's fine. The guys on the coaches aren't worried about him and stuff like that. We don't want to get too nitpicky about shooting, how well guys are shooting and stuff like that, because it's so variable over game to game. We can't really. Dragon. All right, listen, I'm not impressed with Goran Dragic at all. In the first 2 games, he's done the bare minimum. All these people that are saying that he's going to be a starter, he's going to be a savior, he's going to do all this stuff for you, I don't see it. All I see right now is a good backup veteran point guard that's going to come in when we need experience and maybe hit some shots. But he's not even hitting his shots right now. So, I mean, I don't want him out there. If he's not going to be hitting his 3-point shot, I don't want Dragic on the court. He's not part of our future. He has to be helping us. And in the first 2 games of this preseason, he hasn't looked good. He hasn't fit in with us yet. He got the first basket in the first game, but he didn't play a whole lot, and he hasn't shot well. So Chuck was great. Salami and cheese, baby. Onions. That's right. Gary Trent, yeah. Gary Trent had some really nice plays with jump shots and did some really nice different things offensively. But, yeah, that's bad that he didn't make any of his 3-pointers. And I don't know. He's another guy, like I said, we're going to have to really be feast or famine with him. Like sometimes he's going to be a really good scorer for us, maybe score like 30, 40 points. And then some nights he's not going to do anything for us. It's going to be like a John Starks thing. John Starks for the Knicks back in the day, he was hot and cold. He'd either make a whole bunch of shots or he was nothing. And I really feel like in some ways Gary Trent might be like that. And it's going to be really dependent on seeing how he is early in the game and then Nick Nurse adjusting and saying, you know what, Gary, you're not going to get to play for the rest of the game because you're cold. So, all right, we hit big three. Yeah, Matt says buckets, baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mahalik. Yes, he does look really good. It's interesting because he's a player that Nick Nurse has coveted secretly for a while. He's been watching him. He likes him. He really likes him. He really likes Mahalik. I think Nick Nurse was the guy who told management, I want this guy if you can get him. And, he's showing some interesting stuff for his role. In fact, I think he's going to be more important to the Raptors in some ways this year than Goran Dragic. I think that if they're both coming off the bench, when these guys get healthy and they come back, because I don't think Dragic is going to start. Pascal's back and Birch is back. Dragic is on the bench and probably Scotty. And then you got Precious in the starting lineup with the guys. That's the way I would do it. But, we don't know. That's the great thing about the team being so versatile. But Mahalik has been really good, like getting open shots, finding his own shot, and just being dead periods of the game where we're struggling. He's been the guy who's kind of busted us out. Like it used to be Serge. Serge would hit shots when we were having really dead periods that just did this consistency. And now Mahalik did it the last two games. But there were some things he did last night that kind of wasn't good, though. But most of it was really good. Like Pascal, Fred can't lead with backing it up without backing it up. I'm not sure what that statement is, AJ, but yeah, Fred, this is the thing. Like Kyle last night would have been a huge plus. We did miss Kyle last night. Like we might have won the game if we had Kyle last night. But Fred, I want to see him assert himself more as a figurehead leader. And just like it feels like, it looks like you see the team and you're like, that guy's the guy in charge. Kind of like how Lowry kind of carried that. I want that more from him. We know that he has it and he can do it. Can't lead without backing it up. Yes and no. They can lead without backing it up on the court because everybody on that team understands guys have bad nights and stuff like that. And there is a certain amount of respect accrued for your accomplishments already in the league that, it's kind of like, yeah, you will listen to Fred VanVleet and Pascal because they won a championship. And they played at a high level to win the championship, and we're a part of actually winning it. They weren't bench guys. So would it be better for Sky to bring the ball up and Fred just be a shooter? I love this question because honestly, this is something they've actually talked about in the press conferences this past week, Nick Nurse, and they're going to do this. Exactly what you're saying. Fred is going to be more like Kyle used to be this year, where he's not going to bring the ball up. They're going to let the tall guys bring the ball up. It'll be Banton and Barnes and Precious and Pascal and OG. It doesn't matter. I think basically the rule they said was they want the rebounder. Like if Barnes rebounds the ball and he sees up the court, if there's a guard ahead of him, he has to throw it to the guard. But if nobody's ahead of him and he can get going on himself, he's supposed to bring the ball himself. But I really see this a lot more. They were already talking about it with Malachi, that he's not going to be the backup point guard, like handler. He's going to be more of a shooting guard on the side that gets the pass when these guys drive to the lane and kick it out, and they're open for three. And I think that'll happen a lot with Fred also this year, that he's going to be like more of a shooting guard than a point guard at times, for sure. Oh, yeah. And I think it's because it's a great strategy, and it'll work. It'll work. Those guys will draw so much attention, and those guys will be wide open. Really easy three-pointers. Okay. Yeah, Fred's having trouble, but you know what? Listen, it's preseason, and he's not going at full speed right now. He's kind of just, as he put it, the first game was a light workout. He's not putting it all in. He understands how long this whole season is. And, he's got to think about it more like his conditioning of the long run, because he's going to be so important at the end of the year. So he may be like laying off a little bit right now just to let these other guys have chance to make the rotation or make the team or just, show what they can do. It's not as important for Fred to do that for sure. Okay. All right. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We lost. We got to take it. We got to learn from it. We got to watch a lot of tape. The coaches are going to show the tape to them. Doc Rivers is happy because he's not on the hot seat now, and Philadelphia is looking a little bit stronger. But I still don't think they're that good, guys. I think that if we had gotten to their three-point shooting last night better, we would have won the game last night. It's just that they seemed to be a step ahead of us, and they were screening real well. And our guys just weren't as quick and on the ball as they were the other day. All right, guys. Thanks, AJB001 and Paul B for interacting with me and having a little impromptu Q&A first thing this morning. Tomorrow, Boston, and I'll be worried if we lose badly to them tomorrow. I want to see them kick Boston's ass like normal because we love to beat Boston. But, we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. But let's not be Chicken Little fans and say the sky is falling, just when the littlest things go wrong. Because, we are a good team, and there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be a bit of, things that we have to go through, growing pains that may to the undevoted Raptor fan, they may be like, screw this team, they suck, and they give up on them. We don't want to be like that. We want to be in for all in with them and ride with them no matter what, whether they're struggling or doing well, because that's what being a fan of a team is. I hate these fans that switch. Like, I'm going to talk about this in depth next week. I'm going to have a whole video on the different hierarchy of Raptor fans, because there's allegiances that come into play. Like if you're a Leaf fan and then a Raptor fan, there's something there. Or if you're a LeBron fan and then a Raptor fan, there's something there. Well, I'm going to talk about all of that, because to be a true diehard Raptors fan, you have to have them number one. The team, not any players. You can't have Kyle Lowry number one and then the Raptors. You got to have the Raptors number one. Anyway, I'm going to go more in depth and do a whole video on this after the preseason's over and we got those days in between. All right. Thank you once again, guys. Appreciate the kind words, AJ and Paul. And Coach Nate coming back and bringing that discipline back and that organization, man. Coach Nate, he's going to work. You saw him he's at Nick Nurse's caddy for like timeouts. He's there like right next to him, giving him all the stuff right away. That feels good, because that's what we did during the championships year. And Nick Nurse loves having Nate Bjorkgren around to help him keep organized. All right, guys, have a great Friday and a great weekend. And let's get Boston tomorrow. We're going to beat them. Oh, yeah, we'll beat Boston. I believe.